Something I haven't mentioned before in my past life memories of Atlantis is the spider. And the reason is because it was just so outlandish. I thought if I told anybody about the spider that I worked with in Atlantis, they would think, you're just insane. I mean, it was this huge spider, and it wasn't like a normal spider with its body close to the ground. Body was way, way up in the air, and I was working underneath that spider. I had a control panel behind me, and I was producing the power in Atlantis. So it's the kind of thing that, is pretty outlandish. So, but here I am in Ottawa, Canada, and there is the spider, just as I remembered it. And it means that somebody else has that spider in their subconscious mind. This particular art spider, whose name is Maman, because the creator, Louise Bourgeois, his mother was a weaver, and spiders weave webs. And Louise loved her mother deeply, but her mother died when Louise was only 21. Louise went on to live 96 years old. She missed and yearned for her mother, who was so loving. And so she made these sculptures of the mother spider. But her sculptures are not of your regular kind of spider crawling around with its body close to the earth. They are the sculpture with its body high up in the air. And people throughout the world resonate with this image because it's been traveling in art museums all over the world. Plus there are 7 or 8 museums where it is permanently. For example, at this particular National Gallery of Canada, this is a permanent display outside the gallery here. So I'm wondering if people resonate with this spider so much, considering that a real spider can give you a poisonous bite. For some reason, this type of spider with the body high up in the air, people love so much. Do you know, the National Gallery here in Canada paid $3.2 million for this spider. So they obviously think it's valuable, and I would imagine the other galleries paid a lot of money for it as well. I wonder if it's because deep in our subconscious mind, we have an image of this spider from Atlantis. So in Atlantis, I used to work underneath the spider. And the interesting thing is that up in the spider's body, this spider was holding this crystal. And that crystal was very important as far as the work I did. In fact, Edgar Cayce, the great American psychic, called it the great and terrible crystal. The really strange thing is that all through that hypnosis session on my memories of Atlantis, anyway, that particular session, I was sitting on an easy chair, and the whole time my hand was on the arm of the chair, and the whole time during that session, my hand, kept moving. It just kept moving. And the hypnotherapist said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I have to keep doing it." And I literally kept moving my hand throughout the hypnosis session. And my hand in the memory was on top of an egg-shaped ball. It looked like an egg, and my hand was on top of the small part of the egg. And that egg was floating in blue light. And the blue light was contained in a bowl that was floating in the air, levitating. It was floating. And I had my hand on that egg, and I had to make these tiny adjustments. Now, the egg along the bottom of it had this ring that looked like gold, and also the bowl that the blue light was in, that the egg was floating in that blue light. The rim of that bowl had that same gold metal around it. I don't know if it was, evidently Atlantis had some kind of unusual metal, orichalcum. I don't know how to spell it, how to pronounce it, but we haven't found that metal yet, or else we found it and don't realize it's actually that Plato talked about in this Timaeus Critias. I was this frog-like being in Atlantis. I'd been a light being, and as a light being, I could inhabit other animals. And I'm still a light being, and I'm inhabiting a human body now, a specialized kind of primate. And I leave it when the body dies, and then I go on to another body. That's the reincarnation cycle. In Atlantis, we didn't have the reincarnation cycle yet, but we were freer of the physical, so we could go into a body, different bodies, and we could communicate with the bodies, and they were really willing to work with us. So I, at that time, was in a pixie-faced frog being. The reason it was important that I be in a frog mix is because the frog has its pineal on the top of its head. And I could feel the gravitational relationship between the sun, the moon, and the earth, of course, and certain distant stars. And then this hand that was on this egg-shaped ball, it was feeling the electromagnetic energy between the two gold bands, one on the egg-shaped ball, the other on the bowl. And it was done with these animals. One, the pixie-faced frog, and the other, this modified spider that had very long legs, that was much bigger than a real spider, and that was holding the crystal in its body above me. And here at nighttime, with that marvelous glass structure of the art museum glowing, that sort of gives you a sense of what it was like with the crystal in Atlantis. Except the crystal was, of course, smaller because it was on top of the body of the actual spider. And it seemed to glow more of a green color, definitely not red, clear and maybe with a light green. That was my experience in Atlantis. It was pretty magnificent. And that reminds me, hello, you magnificent eternal light being in a human body. It's Caroline Chapman. I'm the author of When We Were Gods, a chronicle of my past life memories of Atlantis. So if you're interested in learning more about this wonderful piece of art, take a look at my video about the Louise Bourgeois sculpture, which is called Maman. And she made it for the love of her mother, who was also a weaver. So see you in that video. Toodaloo, bye-bye.